Thank you, Catherine. Children are invited to come up for the lighting of the chalice. And children, you can stay up here while everyone joins us in saying the chalice lighting words, which may be found in your order of service. We light this chalice in grateful, loving community. Even in the darkest of times, may its flame light paths to courage, justice, and hope. Thank you, children. And everyone, please join me in the unison affirmation in your order of service. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love to all living beings. May we know once again that we are not isolated, but connected in wonder and joy to mystery and miracle in the community, and each other.
Thank you, Cheryl. I gather us this morning with words from Margret Whately. The old ways are dissolving, and the new has not yet shown itself. We must engage with one another differently as explorers and discoverers. We can turn to one another as our best hope for inventing and discovering the worlds we are seeking. And so we turn to one another, inventing and discovering together as we gather once again to worth shape, worship in its most ancient meaning. Come, let us worth shape, let us worship together. I invite you to rise in body or spirit, to join in singing our opening hymn, number 298 in your hardbound hymnal, the gray one, Wake Now My Senses.
Bring now my senses and hear the earth call.
Jeff and Carol bring us a very special, not for children only.
Precious children attempting for the first time in public to sing together, all different ages.
But hopefully the same song.
Okay, ready?
Hold it this time.
Listen to him.
I knew this would happen. I forgot the whole thing. Okay, just a minute. Hold it could be a wonderful, wonderful world. It could be a wonderful world if we could consider each other a neighbor, a friend, or a brother or sister. It could be a wonderful, wonderful world. It could be a wonderful world if each little kid could have fresh milk each day. If each working soul had enough time to play. If each homeless soul had a good place to stay. It could be a wonderful world if we could consider each other a neighbor, a friend, or a brother or sister. It could be a wonderful, wonderful world. It could be a wonderful world if there were no rich and the rich were content. If strangers were welcome wherever they went. If each of us knew what true friendship meant. It could be a wonderful world if we could consider each other a neighbor, a friend, or a brother or sister. It could be a wonderful, wonderful world. It could be a wonderful world.
We take this time to reflect on our personal joys and sorrows and to acknowledge the mutual support of our community. This is a time to briefly share the personal events of our lives, and we ask that you hold your comments to a minute or less so that all can have time to share. If you wish to share in more,
To move past what we can imagine, we need to be unstoppable. And here's what it takes. You don't stop moving to congratulate yourself. You don't stop moving to wallow in despair. You don't stop because your own life got too comfortable or too rough. You don't stop because you won. You don't stop because you lost. There's more to win, more to lose, others who need you. You don't stop moving because there is no way forward. Of course there is no way. We create the way. You move the path into being, you make the way, and if you do it well, others can follow the route. You look backward to grasp the long history you're moving forward from, the paths others have made, the road you came in on. You look forward to possibility. That's what we mean by hope. You look past it into the impossible, and that doesn't stop you either. But mostly, you just move. Your feet, your wheels, your imagination, your power, that's what makes you unstoppable. May we be, in love, unstoppable. Amen, and blessed be. In the presence of our words, spoken and unspoken, let us hold a brief time of silence for the still small voice within us all. May the hopes, the wishes, the prayers of our hearts rise and resonate within us and resonate in the vast universe. Amen, and blessed be.
It is now time for our offering. You can give in several ways. Drop something in the basket when it's passed. Use the QR code on your order of service. Or give by going to uucatskill.org. We contribute to worthy organizations with our half-plate donation. This money will be shared among 8 charitable groups. Please give generously. And our offertory this morning is Valse number 2 in D-flat major by Gabrielle Fauré, played by Catherine Catabiani.
In gratitude for the spirit of generosity that serves this congregation, this community, and the world, thank you. A few weeks ago, I mentioned to a friend that I would be preaching on vision. Wake now my vision. Wake my compassion. Wake my generosity. Wake the impulse of justice. So I said I would be preaching on vision this fall, and he said, "Vision is so interesting. I have some wonderful books on how animals see the world." So he lent me the books. He actually mailed them to me. If anybody wants to know more about animal eyes, I've got all the literature right here. And indeed, the eyes of the creatures with whom we share this world are amazing. Some creatures have eyes like a telescope or a microscope. Some have eyes with many facets or pupils that are large or small, wide or narrow. Some have eyes on the top of their heads. Some have eyes on the sides or eyes that move in many directions. Some see in the dark. Some see temperatures or colors we cannot see, and some do not perceive the colors that we see. What I noticed in all the descriptions of animal eyes, which were written by human scientists, of course, is that the eyes of these non-human creatures are designed to help them survive. Where they're placed, how they move, they use the vision mainly to find food or shelter and to escape danger. And that got me thinking about our human eyes. And of course, we also use our eyes to help find food or escape danger. But with our eyes fixed in place and facing forward, it may be that our vision is designed to see into the future, using our perception, our commitment, our imagination, and our determination to design and create the world that is unfolding before us. The song that Jeff and Carol shared with us this morning offers a vision of the world as it might be. the relationships of neighbor, friend, or sibling, a world of justice and equity, generosity for all. What a wonderful world that would be. A vision of a world where all have a place in the circle of love and inclusion. Our shared vision of the world is something I think about often as I work with communities of faith, both in my work serving this UU congregation and when I am consulting, leading, and teaching in interfaith contexts. People come together in congregations to create a community with others who share their values and to be part of the larger work, taking action on the core commitments of our faith. This vision is reflected in the Unitarian Universalist principles that defined us for so many years, the 7 principles, and then there were 8, and in the newly adopted Statement of Values that opens our circles of inclusion with more expansive language. Our shared vision as Unitarian Universalists is grounded in our commitment to justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity, centered in love as the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. As the UUA website says, we hold ourselves accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. End quote. The world is changing. We see and experience that all around us. We see changes in social norms, changes in media and technology, changes in language and behavior. We are immersed in change in these times, and the world is calling us into the dance of change as individuals, as families, and in our groups and communities, as we are creatively adapting to new resources, new patterns, new ways of doing things, new realities. The old ways are dissolving, as Margret Wheatley says. The future is bigger than our imaginations, as Rebecca Solnit says. It's unimaginable, and then it comes anyway. To meet it, we need to keep going. To move past what we can imagine, we need to be unstoppable. Religious communities are caught up in the waves of change and at risk of being tossed around in the surf until we learn to ride the waves into a new and changing universe. So think, if you will, about the changing meaning of Sunday. So the first image that comes into my mind when I say Sunday morning, and this will date me a bit, is a picture from a book in my childhood. I think it was probably one of those little golden books. The picture depicts a stereotypical white family of the 1950s, an adult man in a suit, a woman in a dress and high-heeled shoes, 2 children, a girl and a boy, likewise dressed up and walking hand in hand through their pristine and peaceful neighborhood to church. Over time, my supply of Sunday images has increased to include people of color, families with different genders and ages in different community settings. And my images of Sunday morning have expanded more to include people out walking in the woods, playing tennis or golf, people at work in warehouses, stores, offices, and hospitals, people at youth sports competitions or dance events, and people at home for a variety of reasons, ranging from mobility limitations to a need for respite from all the activities in their busy lives. Sunday morning, dressing up and going to church is no longer normative in our society, and unless you're a minister. And those who are leading faith communities with that image from a children's book are sitting in their half-filled sanctuaries wondering what happened and how to respond. There are so many other changes that affect religious congregations. The rising generations are not necessarily looking for a place they can come hear a talk. They are looking for a community in which they can join with others to be accepted and welcomed as who they authentically are, to experience true belonging and to make a difference in the world, joining with others of shared commitments to magnify their impact with the limited time and energy they have available. Sunday morning is not likely to go away as a point of focus in our congregations, any more than Friday evening Shabbat services will go away for Jewish faith communities. But if we intend to respond to the needs of rising generations, then the opportunities to gather, to worship, and to serve others in all faith traditions may need to expand. It might look different than what we're doing now. It might look like online communities to share study or gaming, evening gatherings with a meal, religious education after school rather than on a Sunday, offering outreach, support, and welcoming in the wider community, collaboration with other community and faith organizations, advocacy for change in institutions and laws to bring more justice and equity into the world. Sunday mornings may not need to go away, but they may need to change, and we may need to expand our vision to include other ways of being a faith community. Our Unitarian Universalist neighbors down the river at the Community Church of New York have been thinking and experimenting with new ways of creating engaging faith communities in their changing environment. As they say on their website, quote, "The models of church we've been using aren't working. Churches are shrinking, people are disconnecting, our membership is aging, except for us, of course. And there are serious questions about our relevance in the world. It's time for us to rethink how we do everything, stripping us down to our mission, to the why rather than the how. How can we rebuild our why should we rebuild our churches into vibrant, covenanted communities that can think outside their traditional boxes? Disrupting church, which is what they call it, is all about reimagining. It's about letting go of what we think we know about what church is and breaking it open to become what it could be. It's less about going to church and more about living church, being church in the world. It's UU churches without borders. It's 7 ways from Sunday. It's wild, innovative church birthing. And it's what's up. It's what's new. It's what's coming. So we're going to share their introductory video, the video that describes their thinking. And thank you, Kristen. There's another video on their church website, a longer one, that describes both the theory behind their approach, shifting from a consumer to a citizen culture, and some of the specific activities they've experimented with. And those leaders will be the first to say that every congregation needs to find their own way, their own resources, their own ways of expanding their thinking, reimagining how they create congregational life, and experimenting to figure out what will work in their specific setting.
So we're talking about disrupting church.
Yeah.
What does it mean to disrupt church?
Why do people even come to church?
Right. But really, why? Why?
Right? Actually.
Isn't brunch better?
Is church a cool place to be?
Right. Is it relevant?
Is it relevant? Is it useful? Is it, am I learning things there that are skill sets that I can take with me in the world? Disrupting church, in my view, has a lot to do with thinking outside of the church walls.
Yeah.
Thinking about church beyond Sundays. Thinking about church 6 ways from Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we talk about traditional church, it feels like it's, an hour or 2 hours on a Sunday morning, and that's church. And I like to think about being church, like me, my body, my life. I am church in the world. How do we do church? How do we live church? Right outside of the structure, outside of that 1 hour. Because really, what does an hour really even mean?
Is it about who you are and the community you choose and the values you hold and share? That looks like the rituals and traditions that happen on a Sunday. It also looks like workshops on a Tuesday, right? Conversations on a Monday, classes on a Thursday.
When I think about living church, and I think about like showing up at a Board of Education meeting, right? Or I think about just like, who am I in the world? And how do people know that I am Unitarian Universalist, right? We put love at the center. What does it look like in the world? How do people know I know who they are? Right? They're living in a whole different way. And then how do we create communities that are living very differently from the way, say, traditional churches have functioned? That they're not only hierarchical, but they're so structured. And what does it look like when we start thinking about networks and collaboration? And we start thinking about this sort of consumer model of I go to church and I get something, and more about like I'm here with my people and we are creating a whole new world together, and we're doing it all the time.
Yeah, it's building outside of the building.
Well, on Sunday, like if you're going to show up on a Sunday, then I think what you should get is sense of welcome and joy and being seen and being heard, that when you move out into the world, you're carrying it with you.
Yeah.
Right? And you're carrying all your people with you.
Yeah, I think being church is about feeling activated by your faith. It's about understanding that there are verbs in front of, that love is a verb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That it's an actionable concept.
And as a senior minister, for me, I don't mind to keep doing what we've always done. It's so much bigger and more exciting. The potential is so much wider and deeper than what we see when we show up for an hour. But that's, it needs to be, we need to be breaking down systems. We need to be rethinking the whole world because it's a new world, right? I mean, if this is what we're going to do, if this is who we want to be, we have to be willing and able to create something together when we're together, and then everywhere. So this is what we are, who we are, a community church
All the time.
Yay, it worked. I love technology. So that pretty much says it. We are at a crossroads here. We are at a threshold moment. And after the service, we're gonna come back together and think together about what that future might look like. So in just a few minutes after our service ends, you will enjoy a light lunch thoughtfully prepared by Karen Miller and her helpers. Yay, Karen. And then we will regather here to create a vision for this congregation in the coming years. So what we're going to do is I'll ask you to work in small groups, and each group will work together to create an image. First, you'll create an image of the congregation as it is now and has been in recent years, because as you think about the future, it's useful to bring forward the best of who you are and the reality of who you are. The people, the relationships, the programs, the spaces and activities. We'll briefly share those images of the present, and then with a new sheet of paper, each group will collaboratively create an image of your shared vision for this congregation 5 or 10 years from now. Again, looking into the future to imagine the people, the relationships, the programs, the possibilities for this vital and vibrant UU congregation of the Catskills to live into your mission of diversity, community, growth, and action, continuing to work for the transformation of the world toward more wholeness, justice, and peace. And we will have staff here to entertain and keep the children occupied so that families can stay and participate. And don't worry about having caught all that I just said, because I'll give you the instructions again in more detail. So for now, let's rise in body or spirit and join in singing a hymn about the future we create together. It's number 1017 in your teal paperback hymnal, Building a New Way. blessing as we end the service. The future is emerging around us, within and among us. To meet it, we need to keep going. To move past what we can imagine, we need to be unstoppable. Let us turn to one another as our best hope. Together, let us invent and discover the worlds we are seeking. So may it be. I invite you now to join in. The words for extinguishing the flame, they're printed in your order of service as Cheryl extinguishes the flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now, you are received, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share.